In a future where humanity has reached for the stars, but remains vulnerable to older, more powerful forces, a new hope emerges. This is the story of how the weak become strong, how the oppressed find their power, and how even in the face of the universe's greatest horrors, the human spirit can prevail. Humanity will fight back. It's not just a slogan, it's a promise. Are you ready to witness the transformation of the human race? Rise of the Invisibles begins now. The colonial transport ship, Fleeting Hope, sailed silently through the interstellar void, carrying 1,000 souls seeking a new beginning in the outer reaches of the galaxy. Among them was Mira Solis, a young life support engineer whose life had been marked by loss and the daily struggle to survive in a post-apocalyptic world. Maintenance time, the ship's AI announced, bringing Mira out of her thoughts. As she made her way down the halls toward the engine room, she noticed something unusual, small fluctuations in the power systems that didn't correspond to any known routine. Central, this is Mira. I'm detecting anomalies in gamma radiation levels, he reported as he scanned the control panels. Could it be? Wait a moment. At that instant, the lights flickered and a dark shadow crossed the external monitors. The entire ship trembled as something massive emerged from the darkness of space, enveloping them in a gravitational field that defied all physical logic. Unknown contact, the AI alerted. Organic structure detected. Approximate dimensions, 2.3 kilometers in length. Mira watched in growing horror as the alien creature began to circle the ship. It was no traditional craft. It appeared to be alive, with tentacles extending like the roots of a giant tree, and a surface pulsating with what appeared to be internal organs. "Everyone to their emergency stations," the captain shouted through the intercom. But it was too late. The tentacles began to penetrate the structure of the ship, as if they were absorbing its energy. Mira ran to the bridge, where chaos reigned. Screens showed images of other colonists being dragged by invisible forces towards the walls, where they were sucked into openings forming in the alien structure. "We can't fight this," said Chief Scientist Dr. Elias Voss. "It's like it's made of pure, dark matter." Mira studied the energy patterns displayed by the sensors carefully. "It's not dark matter," she replied slowly. "It's something more complex. It's using our own technologies against us. It's absorbing our energy and converting it into biomass." The creature began emitting a series of electromagnetic pulses that disabled all of the ship's systems. Within minutes, they were completely defenseless. "We have to find a weakness," Mira insisted as she helped seal a breach in the hull. "Nothing is perfect, not even this." It was then that he noticed something curious. Every time the creature absorbed human technology, it seemed to adapt, but it also left behind small fragments of alien DNA in the systems it touched. "Dr. Voss," Mira called urgently. "What would happen if we introduced modified human genetic code into those fragments?" The doctor looked at her in amazement. "It could work. If we managed to integrate our DNA into its biological system, we could confuse its ability to differentiate between itself and us." Working frantically, Mira and the technical team began modifying the ship's maintenance nanobots, programming them to transport human genetic material to the creature's contact points. "This is crazy," one of the technicians muttered as they implemented the plan. "We're talking about a species that has probably existed since before the Earth was habitable." "But you've never faced anything like us," Mira replied with renewed determination. "We're adaptable, we're creative, and above all, we're desperate." As the nanobots began to work, the creature reacted violently, increasing its attacks. But something strange began to happen. Parts of its structure began to crystallize, as if human DNA was interfering with its basic biology. "It works," exclaimed Dr. Voss as he analyzed the data. "Their system is trying to incorporate our genes, but can't process them properly. It's like introducing a virus into an alien operating system." However, the victory was short-lived. The creature, though damaged, was not defeated. It began emitting a signal that caused all ships in the sector to begin shutting down. "This isn't a random attack," Mira realized as she analyzed the signal. "It's a call. There are more of them." The team had to make a quick decision. abandon ship and try to reach a nearby colony, or stay and continue the fight against a threat they barely understood. "We're staying," Mira finally declared. "If this thing reaches a colony, it'll be the end. We have to contain it here." Using the last of their available resources, the team built a barrier of containment fields around the creature, using both human technology and modifications based on their own DNA. It was a race against time as the creature continued to evolve, adapting to each new defense they implemented. "We're creating something completely new here," Dr. Voss mused as they worked. "A form of biotechnological combat that's never been attempted before." Finally, after what seemed like days of uninterrupted work, they managed to establish a precarious balance. The creature was contained, but still alive, studying them from within its energy prison. "This isn't the end," Mira warned as she watched the alien mass pulsate within its containment. "It's just the beginning. They know we're here now, and they'll be back." With these words, the team began documenting everything they had learned, knowing that this knowledge would be crucial to humanity's survival in a universe that had just become much more dangerous. But they also knew something more important, that even in the face of the greatest horrors of the cosmos, humanity had the capacity to adapt, to innovate, and to fight back. The containment of the alien creature was only the first step in what would soon become known as the Great Human Adaptation. As news of the incident spread across the colonies, scientists across human space began studying the data collected by Mira and her team. What they discovered would forever change the way humanity interacted with the hostile universe around them. "These organisms are not simply predators," Dr. Voss explained during an emergency conference broadcast to all colonies. "They're collectors of biological information. Each species they consume allows them to evolve and adapt faster." Mira, now considered an expert on these new cosmic horrors, led the creation of an entirely new defense protocol. Using the information gained during their first encounter, they developed a network of self-replicating nanobots that could integrate with any human technology, creating a sort of artificial immune system for ships and colonies. "We call it the Integrated Biological Response System," Mira explained as he presented the project. "It not only detects alien threats, but can also quickly adapt to new forms of attack." But most revolutionary was the creation of what would soon be known as human genetic adapters. These devices allowed colonists to temporarily modify their own DNA to resist various types of alien biological attacks. "It's like having a built-in survival switch," Dr. Voss explained. "When a threat is detected, the human body can automatically adapt to resist it." The first real challenge to this new system came 6 months after the initial incident. A fleet of alien organisms emerged from beneath a mining planet in the Outer Rim. They were different from the first creature, smaller, faster, and apparently able to communicate with each other. "They're learning," Mira murmured as she watched the battle reports. "Every encounter makes us stronger, but it also makes them smarter." The battle was brutal. The mining colonies were equipped with a new technology, but the aliens had developed entirely new tactics. Some of them could infiltrate the defense systems before they could be activated, while others seemed capable of directly manipulating the colonists' minds. It was during this crisis that Mira made her most important discovery. By analyzing alien attack patterns, she noticed that their behavior followed certain predictable mathematical rules. "They are like social insects," he explained during a strategy meeting. "Each group has a central node that coordinates its actions. If we can identify and neutralize those nodes." The team quickly developed a new weapon, a frequency generator that could interfere with alien communication signals. But implementing it would require an enormous sacrifice. "I have to take it straight to the center of their formation," Mira said as she prepared the mission. "It's the only way to make sure it works." The battle that followed was epic. Mira piloted a small attack craft straight toward the alien core, while the rest of the defense forces drew out the lesser organisms. At every turn, her ship was bombarded by biological tentacles and energy pulses that threatened to disintegrate it. "Activating generator," Mira reported as she reached the critical point. "Now!" The effect was immediate and dramatic. The alien organisms stopped dead in their tracks, their coordinated movements collapsing into chaos. Without their communication network, they were vulnerable. Fire at will. The commander of the colonial fleet ordered. Total elimination. But just when it seemed the battle was won, something unexpected happened. The alien central core emitted a massive signal that resonated throughout the entire sector. "It's a distress call," Dr. Voss said as he analyzed the transmission. "And it's directed at something much bigger." Long-range sensors detected movement at the edge of the system, something so massive that it warped space-time around it. "This isn't just one invasive species," Mira said as she looked at the data. "It's an entire ecosystem, and we just called out its top predator." The team had to act fast. Using the information they gained during the battle, they began modifying existing defense systems to create a planetary protection network. But they knew it wouldn't be enough. "We need allies," Mira declared. "Other humans, other species. No one can face this alone." They began contacting all the human colonies and friendly alien species they had encountered during their galactic expansion. To the surprise of many, several species agreed to help. They had faced similar threats on their own worlds. "This is bigger than any of us," said the ambassador of an insectoid species during a strategy meeting. "We must unite our forces or perish apart." The result was the creation of the Cosmic Defense Alliance, an unprecedented coalition of species sharing technology, knowledge, and resources to confront the common threat. "We're changing," Mira mused as she watched the different species working together. "We're not just fighting something. We're evolving into something new." Preparation for the apex predator's arrival was intense. Every colony, every space station, every ship was outfitted with the latest defense modifications. New weapons were developed that combined technology from multiple species, and combat strategies were created that took advantage of each ally's unique strengths. "This is not just a war," Dr. Voss said as he oversaw the final preparations. "It is a test of our ability to adapt, to cooperate, to become something greater than the sum of our parts." When the apex predator finally arrived, it was like nothing they had ever seen before. It was a vast entity that seemed to exist simultaneously in multiple dimensions, with tentacles that tore through normal space and waves of energy that distorted reality itself. "Fire everything," Mira ordered as the combined fleet launched its first attack. "We can't afford to fail now." The battle that followed was apocalyptic. Ships exploded by the thousands. Entire planets were consumed by the unleashed energies. But slowly, thanks to the cooperation of all the species involved, they began to gain ground. "It's working," the tactical officer reported. "Their attack patterns are slowing." It was then that Mira had her boldest idea. Using a combination of human and alien technology, they created a device that could open a dimensional portal, not to escape, but to send the apex predator to a plane of existence where it could not affect normal space. "It's crazy, Dr. Voss protested. "It could destroy the entire sector. Or I could save us all," Mira replied as she oversaw the final deployment. "We have no other choice." With the Allied fleet protecting the device, Mira personally piloted the ship that would transport the dimensional generator to the apex predator's core. "For humanity," he said as he activated the device. "For all species." The effect was cataclysmic. The apex predator was sucked into the portal, followed by many of the lesser organisms. When the portal finally closed, the silence that followed was deafening. "We did it," the fleet commander muttered as he surveyed the remnants of the battle. "We really did it." But Mira knew this wasn't the end. They had won a crucial battle, but the universe was filled with dangers they were only just beginning to understand. "This is not a victory," he said as he looked up at the stars. "It's an opportunity, a chance to keep evolving, to keep adapting. Because if we've learned anything, it's that the universe will always have new challenges for us." With these words, the Cosmic Defense Alliance began to rebuild and prepare for what was to come next. They knew they had taken the first step on a journey that would last centuries, perhaps millennia. But they also knew that, as a species, they had proven something fundamental. that even in the face of the greatest horrors of the cosmos, the human spirit of adaptation and survival would always find a way to prevail. The victory against the apex predator marked a turning point in the history of humanity and its galactic allies. But it quickly became clear that this battle had been only the prelude to a much larger conflict. Analysis of the data collected during the confrontation revealed something disturbing. The apex predator had not acted on its own initiative. It was part of a much vaster and more complex network of interstellar organisms connected by a collective consciousness that some scientists began to call the devouring mind. It's as if the universe itself has an immune system, Dr. Voss explained during an emergency meeting of the Alliance. These organisms are not simply individual predators. They are agents of a distributed intelligence that perceives any advanced life form as a threat to the natural balance of the cosmos. Mira, now promoted to Alliance Special Operations Commander, led the investigation into this new revelation. Using technology recovered from the defeated organisms, her team discovered that the devouring mind operated in cycles of activity that coincided with certain astrophysical events. Every time a civilization reaches a certain level of technological development, it triggers a kind of alarm in this network, Mira explained as he projected holographic simulations. It's as if the universe is trying to maintain a state of homeostasis, removing elements that could cause too much entropy. The research team developed an even more disturbing theory. The emergence of the devouring mind coincided with periods of rapid galactic expansion. Civilizations that began aggressively colonizing new star systems seemed to attract the attention of this collective intelligence. "We're seeing a pattern," Mira said as he analyzed historical data. "Civilizations that expand too quickly, that consume too many resources, that alter their environment too much, are the first to be targeted by these attacks." The Alliance was then faced with a moral and practical dilemma. Should they halt their expansion, limit their technological development, or find a way to coexist with this universal intelligence? "We need to prove that we can be part of the balance, not a threat to it," Mira suggested. "Maybe it's time to change the way we interact with the universe." Under his leadership, the Alliance began implementing a new model of colonization and development. Instead of simply exploiting planetary resources, they began establishing symbiotic relationships with local ecosystems. They developed technologies that worked with the nature of the planets rather than against it. "We are creating something completely new," Mira explained during an intergalactic conference. "A model of sustainable development that can demonstrate to the devouring mind that we are not a threat to the balance of the cosmos." But implementing this change was not easy. Many factions within the Alliance resisted, arguing that limiting their expansion made them vulnerable to other threats. There were political tensions, internal conflicts, and several attempts to continue old practices. It was during one of these internal conflicts that the next major breakthrough occurred. A team of scientists working in a remote laboratory accidentally discovered how to communicate directly with aspects of the devouring mind. "It's like playing a cosmic guitar string," Dr. Voss described. "Every action creates a resonance that can be interpreted by this intelligence." This discovery led to the development of what would soon be known as harmony resonators. These devices could emit energy patterns that the devouring mind interpreted as signals of cooperation and balance. "It's like learning to speak the language of the universe," Mira explained as she oversaw the deployment of the first resonators at key colonies. "We're not trying to trick this intelligence. We're trying to show it that we can be part of its ecology." The impact was immediate and profound. Incursions by alien organisms began to noticeably diminish in the sectors where the resonators had been deployed. More importantly, responses began to be received, energy patterns that seemed to indicate recognition and, in some cases, cooperation. "This changes everything," Mira said during an Alliance Council meeting. "We are no longer fighting this intelligence. We are learning to coexist with it." But just when it seemed like they had found a permanent solution, they detected something entirely new. At the outer edges of the galaxy, signals from another intelligence began to appear, something that seemed to be manipulating the devouring mind at an even more fundamental level. It's like there's another player on this cosmic board, Mira said as she analyzed the data, something that's using the mind devourer as a tool. The research team discovered that this new intelligence was not simply another alien life form. It was something older, more fundamental, possibly a manifestation of the same physical laws that govern the universe. We may be looking at the true nature of reality, Dr. Voss suggested. Perhaps what we call physical laws are nothing more than the conscious will of the universe expressing itself. This revelation led the Alliance to completely rethink their approach. They were no longer simply trying to survive or thrive in the universe. They were learning to become an integral part of its fundamental functioning. We have to stop thinking in terms of conquest or domination, Mira declared during a galactic broadcast. We must learn to be contributors to the cosmos, not mere occupants. Under his leadership, the Alliance began to develop entirely new technologies that not only worked with the fundamental forces of the universe, but amplified and enhanced them. They created energy systems that did not consume resources, but generated more than they used. They developed forms of interstellar travel that did not violate the laws of physics, but celebrated them. We are creating a new form of existence, Mira explained as she oversaw the construction of the first city fully integrated with its cosmic surroundings. A form that not only exists in the universe, but actively contributes to its balance and beauty. The impact of this change was profound. Civilizations that had previously been hostile began to seek alliances. Species that had remained isolated emerged to share knowledge and resources. The fear and mistrust that had dominated interstellar relations began to give way to cooperation and mutual understanding. This is bigger than any of us, Mira mused as she watched this new galactic era blossom. We are participating in something that transcends our individual understanding. But they knew this was only the beginning. The universe remained vast and mysterious, full of wonders and dangers they were only just beginning to glimpse. Yet for the first time in human history, they faced these challenges not as mere survivors, but as active co-creators of cosmic destiny. The future is not something we simply face, Mira said during a ceremony marking the 10th anniversary of the victory against the apex predator. It is something we create together. And if we have learned anything from our struggles, it is that when we work in harmony with the universe, there is no limit to what we can achieve. With these words, the Cosmic Defense Alliance officially transformed into the Galactic Co-Creation Federation, marking the beginning of a new era in the relationship between intelligent life and the cosmos that contains it. ________. Thank you for joining us on this epic journey through the stars. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your support helps us continue to bring you more exciting stories from the HFY sci-fi genre. See you on the next cosmic adventure.